Hello. Coming at you this evening from Simeon Mountains in Ethiopia. Let me give you a little whiz. Oh, pretty hot view, right? Having a lovely day. Today I wanted to talk about something which I found kind of funny from reading Dogen. For those who don't know who Dogen, he's basically the big dog in Zen literature. He's the kind of, of the good type of Zen that I think is what the world needs right now. He's seen as the founder. He's from Japan, the 13th century. And I just wanted to quote two bits from Bendoa, which is his first writing. He basically contains in it an FAQ section where people voice their doubts about practicing, and he addressed them. Two of the doubts that people arise are: even in the present corrupt world in this latter age, is it still possible to realise the state of real experience when we perform this practice? And then a few paragraphs later, another question that someone asks is: in India and China, the people are originally unaffected and straight. Being at the centre of the civilised world makes them so. Blah blah blah. We from Japan, being savages and barbarians, this limits our practice. How could we not regret it? And Dogen addresses this basically by saying, shut up, it doesn't really matter what age you're in or where you're from, just practice, and that's all that matters. I found this kind of hilarious because it's clear from his writings that this is, people at the time were voicing exactly the same issues that we raise today. So when people start meditating now, they think, our world's gone to shit. No one's moral. It's not like the past. We're living in an overstimulated age. Our minds can't be clear. And then also in the West, we say, we're not built for it like the Asians are. They can meditate. Blah 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 blah. So it's kind of hilarious that we come up with these excuses, and we can tell by Dogen's writing this is exactly the same kind of mindset that they were in at the time. So there's nothing inherent about our time now which is so much more degraded than times past. And after I reflected on this, I started to look at this current time a bit differently, less as like a time of difficulty, more as a time of opportunity. I think from an obvious perspective, these days, in terms of practicing, we have more access to information, access to teachers, access to, moving around the world to find places to practice. We can leverage science to improve our understanding of the mind. We can use technology to understand what really happens when we're practicing, sitting, or we can see any text incredibly easily, and we can compare texts incredibly easily. So, for example, I can read Dogen. It takes me no time at all to pick him up. And then another slightly more weird point, and the main point that I think, is that when I think of the main barrier to people having this kind of tranquil, peaceful state of mind that is so cherished or whatever. I think in this day and age, it's the overstimulation, this constantly doing stuff, being bombarded by adverts, social media and what have you. I mean, literally, we are thousands of times more stimulated than they were 1,000 years ago. And it's precisely that which is making people lose their minds and then seek meditation. That's what's made meditation kind of popular. So it's like now we can, when we find little glimpses of relief from the like an overstimulated madness, that relief is so incredibly persuasive that it eggs us on to do more. And that kind of relief that really motivates us is much more dramatic than it was in times past. So for me, personally, having grown up in a city lifestyle, having, let's say, to put it heavily, having really pursued the lifestyle of fun to its extremes, I think we are better equipped to see how this lifestyle is not the answer to our problems. Whereas previously people might have thought, I'm living like this, but like, what if I just got a little bit richer or got a bit more stuff? I think nowadays it's much easier, much more obvious for us to see that this lifestyle is not the one. And then once you've like really thoroughly persuaded yourself that stimulating yourself more with more desire, acting on your impulses and desires isn't fun, and that makes you motivated to be like, okay, I'm going to really stop this. And then when you do stop it and you have that sense of, oh my god, I don't actually have to do this, this is amazing, that really eggs you on. And so now I think that the time is ripe for someone to really step into the role of being like a kind of new Dogen, and for updating the understanding of like what the Buddha, I don't want to say Buddha's teaching because that makes it sound as if it's like a thing to be learned, but like for someone to experience it and narrate it in a modern context, I really think the time is ripe for it. And I want to do my best shot at it. I'm not saying that I'm going to be Dogen or whatever, but like, I think there's some cool potential there. Yeah. It's like, the way I describe it is like, say your mind, your stimulated mind, the shit that's going on in your mind, right? Say that's like the weight of a boot. The amount that you're stimulating and following your desires, etc., is the weight of the boot. You're walking around with these boots, which is getting increasingly heavy. That moment where you take your boot off is like, oh my god, that's amazing. And the heaviness of the boots is what drives the amazingness of taking off the boot, the sense of lightness that comes with it. And basically, our boots are fucking heavy at the moment, and if we can just really manage to take them off, then, I don't know, this could be amazing for the world.